क्या कोहली का सबसे ज्यादा गुस्सा आ रहा है यार, मतलब there is I just can't fucking forget it, dude. Like everybody could count. Like there's just 1 over remaining of that Boland, right? And still you play that extravagant dog. क्या है यार, मतलब हाँ मैं दिल्ली से हूँ ठीक है, पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि यार क्या है। नितिन सुंदर माइट डिसएग्री विद मी, या नहीं नहीं वो तो था बॉल खेलने के लिए, बॉस एक ही ओवर था यार, लास्ट ओवर था बॉस, जस्ट लास्ट ओवर। Anyway, I'm not able to get over it.
तो
So I think that is the
ड्राइव नहीं
reason.
करना चाहिए था।
हाँ क्यों नहीं करना चाहिए था? And that's one. The second one was Rohit Sharma, right? Was
नहीं
वो
but
around the
dude,
wicket था।
give your WhatsApp gems on the pod also, dude। बड़ा है मेरा, आज गाड़ी तेरा बैच चलाए, बताओ
हाँ
बताओ।
मतलब see, I don't know, KSB trying to drive यार, उसका औकात at best
लाइसेंस ही नहीं है।
at best तो ड्राइवर अलाउड है यार, कुछ नहीं है वो at best, right? हाँ मतलब कभी आराम से करेंगे guys, you guys continue, sorry to you know do random
like a true Ganguly fan.
yeah
Iman Pandey gate crashed the podcast and evaluating a 2-year cycle of underachievement which ended in a final defeat. His problem is with one ball that Virat Kohli played. Like a true Ganguly fan, points his finger at Virat Kohli and fucks off.
The problem is with Delhi, not just Virat Kohli. The problem is deep rooted that way.
All right, let's go. Ready? Ep 75 going.
Oh, is it? Oh, some jubilee, no? That is what jubilee?
Okay.
It's
If
some
you say-
milestone.
Jubilee this happened today.
Diamond jubilee.
Jubilee.
And a half
Diamond Jubilee,
golden
correct.
jubilee.
It's platinum, da.
फिर 100 क्या है?
Ruby.
100 is what nobody got.
75 is
75
Oh
also
my
no. Okay,
God.
Rahane got.
75 is platinum. 60 is diamond. 75 is
shit.
platinum.
Oh, there's 60 and all.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't
Yeah,
do all
people
this.
have all jubilees, man.
Very bad.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we don't know what it is, so we'll just
Wait,
call it
60 is diamond, 75 is platinum.
I'm
but
telling
like,
you. What do
but
you mean we
diamond
don't know? I
costs
just
more than
told you the
platinum.
answer.
Oh, so
It's like, I gave the
Wait.
answer. We don't know.
Please make up
Busy
your
has
mind.
started screen.
Rishi has gone to Wikipedia. I think he already edited.
70 is
Semi-quintessential.
platinum. 60 is
Semi-quintessential
diamond,
is
75 is also diamond.
How will you have two diamonds?
Semi-sentential.
Hey, semi-quintessential is a good description of this podcast.
I agree.
How can we have two diamonds?
I agree.
Demi-sesquicentennial. Demi-sesquicentennial.
Mm.
Demi more.
Sounds like Hank describing Shardul backside.
Basically,
The discussants on the spot have no idea.
Sengol nahi mila. We are celebrating random milestones today. Chalo, okay.
Now can we start?
Let's start.
Yes.
Thank you.
All reals.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was 9 years old when he encountered his first dictation. He didn't know the spelling of the word kettle, so his teacher asked him to borrow the spelling from his neighbor. But Gandhi was a boy of integrity, and he said, fuck kettle and fuck borrow. That was the first instance, but not the last, of a kettle borrow screwing over a Gujarat title. Hello and welcome to Bits and Pieces, the friendliest cricket podcast. This is the podcast that makes the Indian cricket team feel at ease after yet another loss in an ICC event, because we are also not afraid to put ourselves out there, even when we are fully fatigued and massively underprepared. I am Tony, aka the Pat Cummins of this podcast, not just because I'm the good-looking blue-eyed boy of the pod, but because I come into this week with zero prep. I overstep the line often, and I kick the ball away in frustration while everyone's watching.
Nice.
Joining me today, the man of the match from the WTC final, the only guy who showed up more times than either team this match, the one whose cardinal sin has been forgiven because he's got a permanent tan in his Travis head, the traverser of the head and tail of the oval for BNP, the one who got his angles right by being the contracted man with a protractor on the field. He's seen this match up close and personal, just so we don't have to. The man who sipped only the head of his beer this morning before chucking away the rest as Kohli got out. Say hi, Busy.
Hello, hello. How is everyone? Happy to
What a
be
lovely
back
tan. What a
after
lovely tan.
after a nice day at the beach. Thank you.
Macha, usually people say the camera adds a few pounds, but you found yourself a few pounds lighter from the wallet and the body after what has been a draining
Yeah.
WTC file.
Yeah, it's okay. It's part of the territory. Like the
Okay.
game as much as you do.
Next up, a man who has no idea what a clean catch is, but many other number of people who would like to get two fingers under him and grab him inches off the ground.
Hey.
Whether it's clean or explicit, Bits and Pieces has only one hottie. Our own thirst trap who never throws in the towel. Say hi, Nitin Sundar.
Thank you, Tony. welcome.
I hope listeners caught that. Hey, middle. That's quite nice.
Also joining us because Sunny Gavaskar couldn't make it, a man who's as angry as a little master. He has a Dexter in his DP, and they call him the Adroit from Detroit, the piston who doesn't care what he gets his fist on, the Da Vinci who looks at India's ICC trophy drought and says, "What does a monkey know about the Inji?" Say hi, Max, aka Mayur.
Hello. Nice to be here. Thank you for that intro.
And then the Kumar Dharamsena of the spot, who you don't see very often except when our balls are battered. The calm sounding expert with a deadly smile, the man who prevented Australia from taking a bow this finals because he was wearing it. A man who will make you quiver with every arrow like insight, the unassuming prof who parties more than you ever will and can say Jai Ho even after a defeat. Say hi, Brother T, aka Tariq Laskar.
Hi, everyone. Good to be back on the pod, but not the greatest of circumstances in terms of results to be back.
Always great to have you. And finally, the Matthew Hayden of this pod, who has long seen this Aussie victory coming, the intellectual giant of this pod, who can smash it out of the park with his left-handed takes when he decides to get going. A colossus of the game who has his heart with Chennai, even though he's an outsider. A man I love truly, madly, deeply. The savage warden of Bits and Pieces. Say hi.
Hey, thanks, Tony. Nice to be back.
Varun, I think before we go anywhere, we have to start with you. And on Wednesday at roughly 8:15 p.m., when the third session had barely begun, you had predicted that this match would end in a 200 plus run defeat for India. And you had predicted back then, not just the result, but what Rahul Dravid would say. Can you read it out for our kind listeners what you had predicted and what Dravid in fact did say at the end of this match?
Can you also read it out in Rahul Dravid's voice, please?
Apparently, he spoke in Hindi today. He was called after the match and had to speak in Hindi with Harbhajan and Saurav Ganguly. Saurav Ganguly was grilling him in Hindi of all things. Like, आपका क्या विचार है इंडिया का टॉप 4 का 2 साल से कुछ मतलब averages के बारे में? It was apparently like a very hard hitting interview. Ganguly like took off Dravid, and after the interview Ganguly is like, अरे ragging किया, चलो.
It's like David Gower to Joe Root after that Ashes loss, basically.
No, but this is what I had like written, and I actually saw this coming on day one. Like, I felt that there was quite a bit in the wicket, and like Australia were like romping away with the advantage on day one. And it's not new. Like, after losses, we've seen like Jamie sir heading up and like fronting up manfully in all these press conferences, and this is what I had written. That would be his reaction after day 5. No regrets as such. In an ideal world, you would like more time to prepare after the IPL, but we have to deal with realities and front up to it. I think we mostly played some very good cricket over the last 2 years that we're very proud of as a group. Once the dust settles down, we'll analyze and regroup. I'm still very excited by the challenge and lies ahead, especially given the depth of talent in Indian cricket. So, I mean, it was so predictable that he would like come back with this. And of course, like after the game, I mean, all the excuses started flowing in, like from lack of preparation, lack of time after the IPL. He, in fact, went and like even went to the extent of saying, yeah, like I would like to have more time, but where's the time? So he did
He's building a new
from
clock. New wall clock, as it were.
Timeless scheme.
all from all accounts.
Wow, what a early 2010s cricket for reference.
From all accounts, it was a very unhappy Dravid after the match. So yeah, it'll be interesting, like to see. I mean, like what he decides to do after this. My bet is status quo will continue till the World Cup, and that's when we'll see things happening after that. I think now it's very clear the World Cup has become a real big pressure cooker event for all the big guns in the Indian team, like Kohli pretty much going without an ICC trophy for the last 10 years. I mean, it's do or die pretty much the World Cup for a lot of these big names, basically.
Asterisks if it happens.
For the World Cup.
We don't have a schedule.
Where is it?
You know.
Where is scheduled?
There is a book cricket World Cup only is going to happen. No, I have one thought.
Tarek
Okay, just
correctly on
quickly.
mute because he's currently doing the final draft.
Scheduling.
No, I'm just
I want to interrupt the broadcast. Sorry, so sorry. I want to interrupt the broadcast. It's raining in London.
Superb.
great interruption.
That is just your tears. No, I just had one thought on Vamo's comment, especially what he said right at the end about Kohli going 10 years without an ICC trophy. I'm just thinking, Sachin Tendulkar before the 2011 World Cup had played for what, 20 years with nothing to show for it. Anyway, yeah. We got impatient with ICC trophies now.
Take a logical takes and all at the end, but now it's time for Max channeling his inner Sunil Gavaskar. The adults version, which you couldn't
This will be amazing.
which you couldn't
No,
hear on Star Sports.
So on, I don't remember the number now. I think it was 2 episodes ago. I said that I want Australia to win and Australia should win, and I got a lot of stick from all of you for that. But yeah, that happened. And
no, you got
it's not a
stick. You got stick because you said you want Australia to win. What you meant was Australia will win, which is fine.
No,
But you
I
said you
want them
want
to win
Australia
as
to win.
well. No, I'm not.
You
It's
look
not
like
just
someone who's
bad.
happy and celebrating, frankly, right now. Yeah.
And after
Wearing an Angry
after-
Birds
after-
t-shirt, clearly the
and
happiest Max.
after Australia won the WTC, they got a stick only as the prize, basically.
So yeah, it was not a surprise that they won, but it's just the matter at the way things have unfolded. Right? You're not even competing. Like this is a final. You're saying this is the 2 best teams. Oh, they probably still are, but it was not even a contest in terms of it. Like, maybe that first session on day 1 maybe was like even that is not like India session. It was like probably like a 50-50 session. But then 3 sessions after that, you were just whacked by the mace. It was almost like they already had the mace and just whacking you on your ass repeatedly again and again. Heating it up, whacking it you, putting it into barbed wires and whacking you, putting it into glass and gum and then whacking you again. You're just getting whacked and whacked and whacked. After a point, it was just abysmal. And if you look at that in the end, right, it was that heads runs that were the difference. Okay, they got Smith to get a century, we got Rahane to get close to a century at least.
No, they got runs from their head, we got runs from our tail, basically. But
not even there, and that's the other thing. Right? If you're expecting your tail to show up, and the tail has showed up in a lot of tests coming into here. Whether you look at Oval before, or in Australia, or then the India series, the tail has been showing up, and that's not their job. It's a bonus, and trying to pick people for that contribution is also your problem. If you have absolutely no faith in the first 6 to do the job, you're saying, okay, well, let's get someone who can do a bit of other things because you want some runs there. That's where
Max basically, like Rohit has thrown Umesh straight into the deep end. But let us try to make heads and tails of this. Speaking of head and India's tail, and as the curator of the Heads and Tails podcast, Nitin Sundar, let's start right at the toss. Do you think India got it wrong at the toss? Not with the call, but with deciding to bowl first.
Yeah, this was, I feel, one of those test matches where it was a great toss to lose. I think both teams would have selected the same thing. Both teams would have elected to bowl here. And I think India also would have struggled in the first session, but the pitch definitely flattened out after that, right? And maybe batting first would have been an advantage here after the way things panned out. But really, regardless of the toss, I agree with Max that Australia completely outplayed India. And the funny thing is, it's not like Australia were fully plugged in or anything, right? They dropped multiple catches. They took multiple wickets with no balls. They actually took 26 wickets to win this test match. And India only took 18, right? And that includes a couple that came with declaration batting. That's how wide the gap between the two teams was. And that was after Australia had lost the toss. And Australia were without potentially one of their first choice fast bowlers as well. I know India also were without a couple of first choice players. Really, India were completely blown out of the water, batting, bowling, lower order batting, everything. Yeah, I think the game was, that was pretty much it, right? Like we thought India may be able to match Australia with the bat, but that really didn't happen, didn't pan out. You weren't going to get all those runs from your tail. The top order had to show up. And in both innings, lots of careless shots from the top order, Indian top order, which has continued to do badly for the entire last two WTC cycles. So there is definitely a problem there. Don't know what the solution is. But yeah. But at the same time, in the same breath, also I have to say, I know that Rohit also mentioned this, the WTC final does not have to be held in England. It is true that if the same final was held in certain other parts in the world, India might have won. It doesn't mean India is the best team in the world. It's not what I'm trying to say, or that Australia are really definitively the best team. They have, after all, lost their last 4 series against India. It is close run thing, and there are lots of other teams that didn't make it to the final that are also close. But ultimately, you have to say Australia came better prepared for this test and played far better cricket. That's it. Give it to them.
Thanks, Nitin Sundar, aka the Shankar Mahadevan of this podcast, who in a breathless minute has given us proper chastising to Indian team and also whataboutery about the venue and stuff like that.
I will edit it all out.
The actual venue was sort of graced by the presence of Busy, it looked like India prepared for the wrong maze. They looked like they were stuck in a MAZE with no clue at all as to how to get out of the labyrinth. What really happened after that first session? Cloud cover, etc., 76 for 3. And then what went wrong?
I think they bowled badly in the first session itself. They were, I think it was a neck and neck thing because there was a lot of play and miss happening. And it is a matter of sustaining that. The way you would have seen them bowl in the second innings was what was required on the first morning. And that is what did not happen at all. You see a guy like Head playing, and I don't think he'll score runs in any other part of the world, but for some miracle, he just swings, ducks awkwardly, fends off, everything lands safely or it doesn't edge, and he just continues. And the thing is, he forgets immediately. But everybody else is, he's bad against the bouncer, so we'll go even faster. Siraj bowls a faster bouncer, it goes away for byes. And that is what sort of turned the momentum from there. And he just rode his luck to 150. There's nothing else. Anyone who's given him the player of the match and all this because of the quantum of runs he scored and pretty much against the run of the play throughout.
Yeah.
There was nothing else going on other than that. I think the game was pretty much decided in terms of how they bowled in the first innings. And we can point out to individual deficiencies, but what we really missed was somebody who can hold and just bowl economically. I don't need wickets. Just dry up the runs, whatever. Create a one-sided field and don't let them score. That was very, very sorely missed.
Interesting. We've gone on for about 20 minutes without mentioning 2 key words, ash and ashes. Tariq, if you can hear us and if you're out of your Uber, do you think Travis Head is going to score any runs in the rest of the Ashes now that they've figured him out? Basically, bowl him a bouncer or like get a spinner, and he's absolutely clueless like he was in the second innings. And do you think India missed R. Ashwin?
Yes to both counts. I'll tackle the second one first, which is essentially the Ashwin question, right? That even if without hindsight, even if on day one you were asking me, should Ashwin be part of the team without having a look at the wicket, without the toss or any of the other information. 100 times out of 100, I would say you pick Ashwin in a test match like this. There are no other questions. Like, I know there are a lot of hindsight justification going on and there are a lot of strong opinions about that, but it's just basic common sense that you needed some variety here on the oval of all places. There should have been some amount of different dimensions to the bowling attack which wasn't there. I think India missed, and that made the difference on day one. I think Varun said right that India had already kind of lost it on day one because of that session. So he may not have won India the match, but Ashwin would definitely have made it more intriguing and interesting. So
yeah, just 1 point, Tariq. India's first innings, Lion bowled 4 overs. Okay, I mean you can say that India capitulated for 296, but you saw how ineffective there was. Absolutely nothing in there for the spinners. So
no, I
don't know.
I
With
think
the
so,
benefit
so
of hindsight, would you still play Ashwin?
Yeah. With the benefit of hindsight, I would again like 101 times out of 100, and without the benefit of hindsight, 100 times out of 100. I don't think there is a case to be made.
You've heard it here first, folks. An economist saying 101 times out of 100. We'll just stand by for Ricky Ponting to tell us how to attain 110% with everyone and getting an extra player in the 11. Yes, Nitin Sundar will remind us later, which was Ricky Ponting's mantra for success. Everyone giving 110%. But yeah, 101 times of 100 you're playing Ashwin. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
No, yes, I would. And my philosophy is quite simple, that I would rather have variety. I mean, I would rather carry a Swiss Army knife than just a blade. So that's my point.
Wow.
The first time someone has likened Asana to a Swiss Army knife.
I'm wondering who the blade is.
Correct.
Shardul,
he will put blade on YouTube.
Only Umesh was there, no?
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
I have a slightly opposing point to Tariq Bhai. The whole thing on this Ashwin thing is like, these are judgment calls you make, right? And it happens, and when it works out, you think, oh, great. Like if Umesh had showed up and took like 4 wickets or something, like, oh man, what a great call this was, or something like that. Or if the whole thing of, maybe they should have batted first or something, but if they had bowled first and the first session, instead of being 2 down, if they were like 4 down, then like, oh man, this is the great thing. So those things, in hindsight, always seem better. But the thing is this, right? Once you've made a decision, however, and you probably we're not privy to dressing room, and we're not privy to we're not been walking on the pitch. We're all seeing as visuals and listening to what people are saying. And this is not just is it any form of cricket, where you're playing gully cricket or league, semi-professional league that I'm playing or anything else, is that once you've made your decision, you go all in with what you have, with the resources that you have at hand. And like the greatest IPL team in the world has proven that time and time again. Like, whatever resources are there, you play with that, right?
Enough about Mumbai Indians, though. But okay.
But he's talking about Kochi Tuskers, Ra.
No, I'm talking about the World Championships of IPL, Chennai Super Kings. If that was not clear enough, I will say that again. World Championships, World Champion of IPL.
World Championships of IPL. Kappa.
Yes, but I digress. You have to still make the best with the resources you have. Okay, you have Umesh, you've decided to bowl, but and this is where it was that mental complete degradation of everything was happening. You've seen what you've done the first inning, and again he got petered by Warner for like 16 runs or something in that over, right? And that has gone. After that, you're like, okay, no, maybe if we bowl too close, maybe they will hit us. Okay, let us just bowl away. Let us bowl away. What are you trying to achieve there? Right? And it is not working. Okay, it does not work for one session. The next session, you keep doing that again and again. And at no point, and like Bissy was saying, oh yeah, he's afraid of the bouncer. Let's just pepper him with more. Let's see what can happen. Oh, buys. Who cares for buys? Buys is for just for a scorecard. It doesn't go on my sheet. What the absolute fuck?
Now we're getting into it. Come on, Ram.
An Australian fan is sledging all Indian team strategies here.
No, okay. I actually go ahead, Nathan.
No, go first.
No,
I know we all have points.
I
Go,
just
go,
wanted
go,
to.
go.
No,
Nitin is
I
like,
didn't
Vamu,
want
you
to.
go ahead anyway. I'm going to edit it out. So we'll go Tariq, then Vamu, then Nitin.
Yeah,
Tariq, go
yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
No, I just wanted to put a quick complimentary point to Max, which is that's exactly what I meant. That I would pick Ashwin for sure, without the benefit of hindsight also, and
No,
B,
but
having
Tariq,
picked him, then it's a
who would you
question.
pick him in? Who would you pick him in place of? That's the tricky part, right?
Yeah, that was the hard one. But I think, without the hindsight, also you would say it had to be Umesh who would be the one dropped and Ashwin put in, right?
So, okay, let's all take a step back, and I'm sorry to do this. But here was Indian team's thinking, right? They're like, it's a one-off test. Why don't we bring in Ajinkya Rahane because he's done it on the big stage, right? You've stepped away from whatever, Ishant, because Bumrah is leading the pack. Bumrah and Shami are great and all of that. And you've stepped away from Saha because Pant is there. But now neither Bumrah nor Pant is there. 100% I would play Ishant in place of Umesh and Saha in place of Pant instead of KS Bharat, whatever. But the point being, like, there is no clear thinking from this management as such, right? And I mean, that's one thing that bothers me a lot, is that there is no articulated strategy, right? It's basically like, okay, what we've got going on is a good thing, but let's do little bit of this, little bit of that, and then just escape because stats support us. But sorry, I jumped the gun. Vamu, your original point.
I think look, I think when the toss happened, I'd made the point then only that like I would have batted first. But I can understand the team management.
You and Shastri both.
Because
Ravi
I
Shastri came in
never
and said, "What a bunch of pussies they are, opting to bowl first, right?" So yeah.
I think I can understand the team management picking the four seamers once they decided to bowl first. I think once you have made a decision to bowl first, then to pick Ashwin and Jadeja, I think I don't think that like both go well together. So I don't really have
Hold
much
on
of
one
a
second.
problem.
You have no guarantees that you're winning the toss, right? It's not the IPL where you can give the team sheet after the toss, bro. So
No,
Ashwin was out of the team, whether or not you won the toss. And like, let's say Australia put
no,
you.
I think you have a strategy, right? I mean, you think that this is going to be like a bowling wicket. I personally think that maybe both teams like completely misread the wicket. Even Pat Cummins came on record and said that like they would have also bowled first. There is some history to this, right? I think both Australia and England have batted first in recent times and lost the test match in the first session while batting. Australia have been bowled out once for 60 odd. India have been bowled out once for 70 odd. I think that's where I think both teams were coming from, that we don't want to lose the game in the first session by batting. And maybe I think one off game, you could understand both teams being a bit defensive with that. We'll take a slightly safer option. I really, when I saw the wicket playing the second and the third day, I was very alarmed, to be honest, because I really thought that like India wouldn't have much of a chance. Like even like the lead of 173, I thought was good enough. But for some funny reason, the wicket petered out. I thought the wicket got flatter and flatter as the game went on. I mean, the pace was taken off. It did get a lot easier to bat on. So I don't think Ashwin was such a big game changer. The one person I would be very critical of is Rohit Sharma. I think on day one, the captaincy, I think, left a lot to be desired. When we were hemorrhaging runs, I think as a captain, there is a lot that you could do. I think there is an example, right? I mean, the test that we played at the Oval against England, if you remember, England were chasing like 350 odd, and they were like, if I'm not mistaken, 100 for no loss or something of that. And then we put together like a good 15-20 overs of extremely like good dry bowling. I think Shardul and one and Jadeja on one end, where we just didn't have any slips and just dried out the runs completely. So I really didn't see any imagination in the captaincy in this game. It was just a lot of like do the same stuff over and over again and expect a better result. I think that's something that Rohit could have done a lot better. But yeah, I mean, we are all clutching at straws here. I mean, all said and done, I think Australia probably a superior team in these conditions given the Indian side, and India really needed like one of Kohli, Rohit or Gill to like come up with a big 100 to compete in these conditions.
Oh, not Rahane. Yeah, fuck.
Why is he giving full summary in one go, man? Hit him.
We are all clutching at straws, but enough about Kevin Peterson back in 2012. No, no. So, firstly, it's I agree with Vamu's point about first innings collapses happening in England, and definitely that would have been one of the considerations at the toss. The other thing is how pitches are flattened out in England
you've
in the
gone
last summer,
from
especially.
Vamoose to Vamoose.
I'm Vamoosing from Vamu to
Vamoosing. Vamoosing in the caboose.
I'm bamboozled by his name, man. Also, if you look at the last summer, especially, and India were at the receiving end, the fourth innings batting has been the easiest of the lot repeatedly in England. So there is a lot of justification to teams choosing to bowl first here. You always pick your 11, assuming you will win the toss. That's something that teams do always. But I also feel even if India had lost the toss, I don't think they would have picked Ashwin here. And we are all, right from day one, all these experts have been acting like this is such a left field move, leaving Ashwin out. For the last 4 years, Ashwin has been left out repeatedly when India have played abroad, including under Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli. The last time we were in England, Ashwin sat out every test match. Jadeja played every test match. India won that 4-match series 2-1. Let's not forget. And it is just a sad quirk of fate that India has right now, that Ashwin and Jadeja are unfortunately contemporaries. Because what this means is, once both of them stop playing, we don't have any other spinners. Unfortunately, if they were like 15 years apart, we would have been taken care of for many years together. Now, once both of them go, we'll just have Akshar Patel, who is good, but he's not in the same league as either of these two players. If Jadeja was not around, Ashwin would play every test match everywhere. It's a no-brainer. Jadeja obviously plays ahead of Ashwin because he brings a lot of value with the bat, and he's a very good bowler. He bowled really well in the second innings, must be said. He bowled well.
And let's face
in the first
it,
innings
team
also.
selections are based on MS Dhoni's selection, like how Rahane made it to the team. Therefore, obviously Jadeja doesn't make it. I don't know, one of the two.
I don't understand where you were going with that, but anyway.
Hey,
second CSK reference, like.
You haven't read. Basically, the headlines said that Rahane has been called into the team after a consultation with MS Dhoni, who said he is ready to play the WTC.
Oh,
what does that have to do with Jadeja and Ashwin?
Jadeja is also CSK, no?
They asked Dhoni to pick Jadeja.
Between Jadeja and Ashwin.
When Dafa, since they started playing, since when, I don't understand what you think. Anyway, I really don't get. By the way, Tariq, I disagree with you. Maybe you.
Now that I can see you.
Yeah, I can see you.
Your face is
now that I can see you.
It's easy to say now that Umesh Yadav would have been the one to make way for Ashwin. But 99 out of 100 people are not going to agree that Shardul Thakur is your third seamer in a seam attack playing in England, right, with the Duke's.
No, I think it's the same. Yeah, it's the same issue. So it's an idiosyncratic point, the one that I was making, which is that what I would have done, which is I would have definitely picked Ashwin, and it would have been in place of Umesh, regardless of how the things go. Would that have been eventually like a bad call? Could have been, because
no, but it's not a call that anybody would be comfortable with. No captain or coach will be comfortable with the idea that Shardul Thakur is your first change bowler in English conditions, right? And you have two spinners after that. You have a 5-man bowling attack where Shardul is your third seamer. That's not going to compete for anybody, right? So and that's the problem.
I think
who makes way for Ashwin is an answer. Question nobody has the answer to, right? Sorry, I'll just repeat that. Who Ashwin should make way for is a question for which nobody has the answer to. That's the problem.
The great Ravi Shastri, in the lead up to the test match, like if you remember, when he was picking his side, he said that the last spot would be between Ashwin and Umesh Yadav. So and he reiterated the same point after the test started, that India obviously he was privy to some insider news. He said that India were making a last minute call between Ashwin and Umesh Yadav. I completely agree with you. Shardul as the third seamer would have been bonkers, but that's how the thinking seemed to have been from the Indian team.
Exactly. And that's exactly why Umesh Yadav will play. 9 times out of 10 in these conditions, Umesh Yadav will make the cut over Ashwin, because that's what makes sense. I know why it goes down to it's between these two. And here we can result bias say that Umesh should not have played, Ashwin should have played.
See,
In the next test
Nitin.
match, again, they will do exactly this. The last WTC final, India lost playing two spinners, not because Ashwin bowled well or Jadeja bowled well. I don't even remember how Jadeja bowled. Ashwin bowled well. But after the test match, everyone is like, oh, we played two spinners, overcast conditions. And Jamieson came and bowled the crap out of it.
Incidentally, that's something I did think about when you when you were earlier asking the question about the hindsight thing, that in the last final, it was exactly the opposite thing that was causing outrage.
And there you had Bumrah. You had three world fast bowlers. You had Bumrah. You don't have Bumrah now. You have Umesh and Shardul as the third option, right? So,
Nitin, you realize where you ended up, right? You ended up where Sandy G is one level above you because he can explain things in hindsight. In hindsight, also, we're struggling to explain the script of the Indian team, which brings me back to my original question.
No, actually, I'm not struggling to explain it. I think the 11 was perfect. I don't know what you're saying. I have absolutely no problem with the 11 that was picked for this.
It's like operation successful, but patient died. But I want to dwell upon a few minutes to think about the think tank within the Indian team, right? And basically, how did they choose to go back to Rahane and decide that Ishant is completely left out and Saha is completely left out? Now, let me just put this thing in context, right? Scott Boland may be a new international player, but he's fucking 34 years old, right? And Ishant Sharma is also 34 years old. Now, you may say India's 34 years old is very different from Australia's 34 years old. But let me remind you that Umesh Yadav is 35 years old, right? And when you need a fucking dry bowler, which neither Siraj nor Shami is, and Shardul never can't be, and you're going to go with either Jadeja or Ashwin, how does Ishan not feature in this? And
Absolutely
if you're going with a keeper as opposed to a batsman, as opposed to a batter keeper, then how does Saha not figure in this decision at all? I mean, these are not things in hindsight, right? This you brought up earlier also. So what's the thinking? I really don't get honestly, where Rohit Sharma and Dravid are going with this team.
I can take a quick 30-second stab at that. I can take a quick 30-second stab at that and give it to you, Amu. I think they decided to move on.
Are you stabbing Dravid from the front or the back? That's what.
Back of the wall. I think they took a call to move on from both Saha and from Ishant Sharma. That decision,
as opposed to Rahane.
We'll get to Rahane. Rahane, I think the answer is very different. The decision to move on was fine when it was made. I don't think anybody questioned it because you had Bumrah and you had Rishabh Pant at the time when those decisions were made. Once it became clear that both these players are out for a significant amount of time, I definitely think the team management should have gone back and thought about these two very, very seriously, especially Ishant Sharma, especially given the problems India had in South Africa with their bowlers not being tall enough and not being, back of a length, hit the deck kind of guys, and given Ishant's amazing experience. I think Rahane's situation is very different. Rahane is fighting fit. He's as old as Steve Smith, man. None of these guys, by the way, from an age perspective, are over the hill, and Rahane is actually the fittest of the lot. He had form issues for sure. He went back and he sorted out form issues. And let's agree, this was a one-off test match where you didn't actually have an experienced player in the middle order. You didn't have any other option. You don't have a Saha or an Ishant equivalent that you can point to with a proven track record to come in at number 5. So going back to Rahane for this test match was okay. He might have failed and it would have still been okay to go to him for this test match and then discard him after this. I feel the fact that he came good is just a happy coincidence. Unfortunately, not happy enough because it wasn't enough to win the test.
I mean, just a quick take on Ishant. I personally didn't have much of a problem in India leaving out Ishant because I think you will have to go with what the person has done over the last season. Ishant played a few Ranji games and he never saw out the game. I mean, invariably, he just used to bowl like 8 or 9 overs in the first innings for Delhi and he just vanished for the rest of the game. He didn't even turn up for the second innings basically. And even those 8 or 9 overs he used to bowl, he would get smashed for 40-50 runs. So there's nothing to write home about as far as Ishant Sharma. Heading into the IPL, I thought Ishant was completely done because he had nothing of note in the Ranji Trophy. So I think to go back and pick Ishant on the back of 3 or 4 IPL performances, I think would have been too much of a leap of faith. I didn't personally have a problem with India not picking Ishant, even with the
Vamu, do you think Ishant performed badly because Shaz went and asked him also how much mutton curry you're taking on your plate, but he just got offended and Mohammad Shafi saw it as a call to
mutton nahi khaoge.
Idhar bhi khana, udhar bhi khana.
Yeah, so I didn't have much of a problem with Ishan not being picked. I would have definitely gone slightly differently with Saha. Maybe I think as the backup keeper with somebody who has experience of keeping in England, I would have probably picked Saha. But no, Ishant, I was happy with that decision.
Didn't explain Rahane though.
It's a difficult
Walked into that.
it's a difficult one. You know my thoughts on it. Like I've been espousing the need to move on for the last 12 months. I was not particularly happy when India recalled Pujara as well. I think with all due respect for the county runs he's been scoring, I think we all now agree that that's of a different standard altogether. I mean, not that he looked totally out of touch or anything in this game, but I just think that the one issue I've been having with this management is that I think Dravid in particular was brought in with the remit of trying to get the next batch of players in, and I don't think we have moved an inch forward in that respect. I mean, we've just gone back to the same players again and again. I get the point of one-off games, etc., but this is the problem you end up with, right? Like Rahane does well now, you have to accommodate him in the side for the next 1 year or so. So I mean, that's one spot that could have otherwise been given to another young player. So, and the cycle just continues. So I think that was my only problem with the thinking there. Nothing against Rahane. He looked in fantastic touch during the IPL. He was good here as well in the final. Probably our best batsman in the final. But yeah, I mean, it's just that
Such a
it just
dignified response that is for Rahane. and I say dignified with a lot of whammy.
Why are you against 34, 35-year-old batters? Were you asking for Tendulkar, Dravid and all to be dropped in 2006 also? Just asking because I didn't know you back then, but I'm just wondering. Because that's how old these guys are. They had a bad season. They went back, scored runs and came back. You are very confident that the new batsmen who are coming up in the Ranji Trophy, the same Ranji Trophy that produced Rahane, Pujara, Rohit, all these guys are going to outshine
Mayank
these guys
Agarwal.
dramatically. Yeah, exactly. You have Mayank Agarwal there as the poster child for Ranji Trophy's excellence right now. What is giving you the confidence that these guys are going to outperform these guys who are not old, by the way? They're 34 and Rahane is the fittest guy. Finally, we have a slip fielder back in the 11 who can take catches.
Nitin, my only
who didn't feel that all in the second innings.
Finger God.
Ungli mein dard ho
Ungli
raha
mein ghumne dard, yeah. Tika would say.
My only counter to that, and I agree it's not a great counter, is that I mean, you are just going back to the same players over and over again. I that's my only point. I think even with Umesh, like I said before the start of the game, I would have gone a different route. I would have picked Unadkat instead of Umesh, just for the fact that he is a more accurate bowler and all. But again, you had the same argument, one-off test, big match, you go with experience. So you're really just going back to the same players over and over again. And with
basically,
the WTC,
5 years, 50 test matches, then fuck off. That's all. Vamu doesn't have time for anything more than that. You played your 50 tests, now just get lost, become a commentator. I don't want to see your face. Become the next coach. That's all. Go.
Hey, Nitin, at least Vamu is giving that concession. You are like, DK shouldn't fucking commentate on another screen ever again. Please. Play for RCB and then do videos with Danish State.
Biggest failure of WTC final is Dinesh Karthik on commentary. My goodness.
Guys, we've given the first hour to the bowlers. Now it's time to it's become too serious. We have to lighten this up. As our legendary Iman Pandey would say, "Ab khelne ka time nahi hai, pelne ka time." So let it all out here. What is this dignified
time to look forward to next WTC final.
No.
Rohit Sharma ko kahan se marna chahiye?
If you want to lighten it up, please discuss Starc's bowling. I haven't seen anybody worse than that on the planet bowling. He's horrible.
Dude, he got Kohli, man, in the first innings with the ball of the first innings across both teams.
And Rahane in the second.
Basically,
Gavaskar-
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know if you saw this because you were at the stadium, but as you described Mitchell Starc, they had a new kind of bowling analysis that they could show, right? Which is a mountain of where you pitch the ball, right? It forms a bell curve, right? So basically, wherever you pitch the ball, it forms a bell curve. It looks like a mountain.
Okay.
They called it a literal mountain. When they showed Starks, it was a turd emoji. यहाँ कौन pitch करता है यार? मतलब even
was
Kohli
so
is scoring runs. So
horrible.
even KSB, Karnataka
I'm
State
sure
Board, who has appeared for CBSE exam, is driving you for 4. Stark motherfucker who's like, I missed all the IPL so that I can play Test cricket for Australia.
I'm holier than thou.
Served absolute
I have given
turd
up.
sandwiches.
I have given up lucrative contracts with RCB and valuable airtime with Danish State, all so that I can further my test career, and Ashes I will make impact, and WTC is a stepping stone to that. First morning he comes, top ball, half tracker gets pulled by Rohit. It was brilliant. And from there he just kept getting progressively worse. And I kept wondering, why is he like in the first day, Cummins immediately removed him after 2 or 3 overs and bought Boland or Green on at his end. But in the second innings, he kept bowling him, and I kept wondering what is going on. And then somebody said it is because he had to create foot marks. Then he goes round the wicket. So now he's creating the wrong side foot marks also. And to just top it off, today was the
Wrong
best.
side foot mark.
He's going round the wicket.
Step marks
इधर-
के लिए भी point नहीं है. Wrong step कर दिया है तूने.
इधर भी कहेगा उधर भी कहेगा.
Cummins, he's getting hit for 4. Cummins comes to him. I think Rahane straight drove him for 4. Cummins comes to him. He's like, let us switch around and all that. Starc is like, तुम वापस जाओ, मैं जो डालेगा आएगा. He was like
But-
a Rohit Sharma of Australia, basically.
But Bissy, you should know that there is only one person who still sends dry fruits to Prithvi Shaw on Diwali. that is Mitchell Starc, because he was the only batter he could get. You don't remember last BGT? Dude, Prithvi Shaw was our opener going in. I don't know if you
I remember that. He got it to Starc. Huh?
Oh,
Twice, no? Like first
Adley,
couple of balls.
both
And then
innings.
Jasprit Bumrah was our night watch in the second innings before 36
Please,
all out.
today is not the
If
day
you
to talk
remember.
about 36 for 9. In case you were...
36 for 9.
Let us not
Accuracy.
move ahead. Let us not move back. Let us look at
Max,
Mitchell Starc.
Max, I know you've
Create
got
that
a
Mount
mountain
Everest
of
of-
30. Mountain
No,
of
so,
30,
so
Max.
take what
unload.
Bissy said, put that into context, right? Mitchell Starc has been absolute trash from either end, either side of the wicket, and I mean, he's complete trash all over. Despite that, right? Despite someone just being so much out of the game, and even Cummins was pedestrian by his standards, you could say, right? So you have two bowlers bowling absolute shit. Cameron Green doesn't even get a ball, so I don't even want to count him in that thing. And then you have
He gets the
Lyon.
ball, Dark, by touching the ground.
No, he has really good long.
Just
pudgy
like
fingers.
Prithvi Shaw celebration after hitting 50, that was only Cameron Green catch.
Hey, by the way, that same celebration, for some reason, Shubman Gill was showing in the middle of the match. He was signaling from slip like this. I don't know what it was. Bissy, I don't know if you noticed, he was signaling the same.
मुझे
Something.
man of the match चाहिए.
Some
like
thirst trap.
ये मेरा towel है.
is the way to get
Towel
it.
है.
मेरा towel
Not to be
लेके आओ.
confused with.
We will thirst trap him, just bowl dry. Like he will give a wicket. Oh, yeah.
So think about this, right? You have Cummins who's bowling pedestrian. You have Starc who's bowling just absolute shit. He's making Umesh Yadav look good. If you list at all the bowlers. Despite that, we fold up for 290 and then 200 and something now. So we have not managed to put 450 runs. Cumulatively, our target was 444. And despite two bowlers being absolute trap, okay, we can argue from our side, okay, we picked the wrong bowler. They also probably didn't have the right bowling to take 20 wickets, given how they were going against it.
And they dropped 3 catches. And they took wickets with no balls.
And they had no balls, wickets on no balls, and all of that. So that is how awesome our batting has been. Right now, if you look at that second innings where it started, you had Gill and Rohit going at almost run a ball. as if this was the power play and they had to maximize the first 6 overs and so on. They were doing really well. And then Gill, I don't want to talk about that. I mean, yeah, it just
Best
doesn't make
analysis.
sense. Those things.
That is well left. That analysis also is well.
There is not much to that, but so and that happens. Shit happens. We've been having shit throughout for 4 days. I don't want to complain about one shitty thing that happened with that catch, right? But after that, Lion shows up and Rohit has an itch. Right? And this is not that itch of I want to hit you out of the inning and kind of thing. This is that my taint is itching kind of an itch. And I have gloves. So what should I do? I'm going to scratch my taint with the red cherry. And that's what he does. Like, okay, sits down, spreads his legs, and lets the ball come in. Right? Gets it taken care of on the pitch.
This has to be intro.
Burns a review also after that. Say, can you show me? Can you show if it itched me? If it scratched my itch properly? I want to see it. He was not clear enough. You see, he was coming over, it's coming around. It hit in line, but I still want to know where did it hit me? Is my itch gone?
I want to see 3 reds.
He walks off. He walks off. Okay, it's fine. We have Virat, and everyone's like, okay, this is going to be it. Puji still looking good, and at that point, even Puji was not in like the 20 strike rate, 30 strike rate guy. He was like in
smashing
the 60
it.
strike rate zone. Right, so that this is like, okay, this is Sussex Subramani, like the guy who is killing it for everyone. Right, I've got 600s. I'm going to play the Vitality Blast. I'm the captain of the white ball team. For when they play in England, kind of guy.
I am the daddy of Steve Smith. I am his captain.
Yeah, I am his captain. I tell him to go stand at point. I tell him, no, you will not stand at slip. You stand at slip.
I am the OG Steve.
When I am the captain, you will be at fine leg. That is what he can do. He can make Steve Smith ball off spin. It's like, no, I know you came to the team as a young Shane Warne. No, you will bloody ball off spin because I am the captain. I say so. Okay. And that guy then decides to take something. And it's not like he was batting on like 75 or like, and this is like, he was on 20. Wicket has just gone. Another one is a contentious shit. Like, oh, you know what? Here, let me try something. And then he has this absolute look of disbelief on his face after that, because how dare you take that catch? How dare Carey you take that catch? That's not, you shouldn't be, people come to watch me here. I'm the one who's given up 2 months of white ball to play red ball game, and I will just shit all over here and walk away. That is how it has to be. And then for absolute no reason, Kohli and Rahane, they don't get the message. Oh, we should be playing shit. No. Let us actually go play a different game. Let us give these useless fucks we call fans some hope. Right? They should also have some hope, because we don't want the game to end and people say Test cricket is dying if it ends in 4 days. We have to take it to day 5. So let us play and give people hopes. People who can start thinking of GABA and shit because there's less than 300 runs to make. Awesome, let's go do that. And then we all go to sleep. And then I wake up, there's like 958 messages on my WhatsApp with everyone talking about this is going to happen, there's going to be a Kohli 150, we're going to bat till tea and all that nonsense. Why give all this useless hope? Why don't you just follow what the 2 other guys have done? Just be shit. It is so easy to do that, guys. But no, we won't do that. We want to give the entire universe hope. We even want to give Australian media hope that they can do this again. And people start talking about bear store chasing and all that nonsense. Like, why?
Best ever.
Well, welcome to Pyar Ka Panchanama Part 3.
No, we gave the first half to the bowlers genuinely. Now we are cashing it. Man. Like, what a amazement. Series of 4 boundaries back to back.
Morning, what happens in the morning? We're like, okay, this is going to be it. And then Kohli is playing not just for the 3 stumps that are behind him. He is also protecting the 3 after that. You just cannot see it because you don't have the 3,500 iPhone vision goggles that you have. If you buy those stupid ski goggles, you can see the other 3 wickets in the metaverse. He was protecting them. That is why he plays on the 6th stump.
They prepared 2 pitches for the final. He was batting on both pitches.
That is why he's playing on the 6th stump, 7th stump. And then Rahane is like, Arey bhai, main bhi aata hu. I will also do the same thing. Starc, I know you're bowling shit. I know you're going to... I will help you. Don't worry. You need decent figures. You need to prepare for the Ashes. You need some confidence behind your stupid ass. Come.
Max, I think you didn't read what Kohli uploaded on Instagram yesterday. He said, If we have too many worries, fears, and doubts, we have no room for living and loving. We need to practice letting go.
And
That
he
is what
forgot
he did.
promptly.
You have
He
to
forgot
practice
promptly.
you have to
Letting
practice
go.
to let go.
He
Sahi
couldn't,
bola
no,
wo.
but
If he wants to
He
let
got the
go,
memo,
then
but he couldn't implement
oh
it. He
God,
got
we are
the
having
memo.
screen sharing happening.
if he
Watch out.
wants to let go, let him go build a
Hey,
fucking ice
hey,
castle
recording
and
kar
sing
rahe.
on top of it to let it go.
Hey, recording kar rahe.
God of small things has shared something.
First, look at the first response to that. Like first reply to that.
Yes.
So let's just read this out. This is Sachin_RT, famous commenter on all important social things ever. Former Rajya Sabha member tweeting, "Congratulations to Team Australia on winning the #WTC final. Steve Smith and Travis Head set a solid foundation on day one itself to tilt the game in their favor. India had to bat big in the first innings to stay in the game, but they couldn't. There were some good moments for India, but I failed to understand the exclusion of Ashwin Ravi 99 in the playing 11, who is currently the #1 test bowler in the world. Like I had mentioned before the match, skillful spinners don't always rely on train, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
I thought. Please read out the first reply also. Maybe in the right voice.
Yeah, Nitin, go for it.
Okay, the first reply to this tweet from Sachin Tendulkar has come from Hitanshu at Hitanshu HP. बैट का ग्रिप निकालने का समय आ गया है प्रभु. उसके लिए भी एक रिप्लाई आदर्श समय.
It appears like Prasanna Lara is tweeting from Sachin's Twitter account.
Now that we've had the most
There are more
unkless
words
takes of all
dedicated
time.
to Ashwin's exclusion than the entire test match. There's one entire paragraph for Ashwin's exclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we've
Because
had the
India
most
because India
unkless
famously
take of
lost
all
this
time.
test match because they couldn't take
Because
wickets.
of Ashwin.
Yeah.
Oh my
We didn't lose.
God.
We didn't bat enough. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why no one talks. We like even after this, right? For the entire week, Umesh is going to get a lot of stick. People are going to be talking about Umesh. People are going to talk about how Shardul didn't bowl well or something like that. But no one's going to be. Why is no one talking about? You have 6 batters there who just did not show up, or who showed up and then wanted to go back, and they were gifting away
Max,
wickets. Like
you-
we have
Max,
to
You
earn
have
wickets.
some
Max, just to
weird
play
idea that talking about it will change the team. Nothing's gonna happen in this team for the
No,
foreseeable
I think
future. At the
just
same
to
time,
play
let's
next
throw it to
WTC.
Varun Murali, who has all the ideas for
no, just to play the devil's advocate, because both Robro and Jamie sir have like come out after the match talking about lack of preparation time. Robro has said it would have been nice to have 20 to 25 days to prepare for this. So, so
like me
I mean,
after
I think
IIT
should
JEE exam in 2004.
one should we cut them a bit of slack, given what happened. Like, I mean, we all remember what happened in the first test match in Adelaide also, right? I mean, like, I mean, should we just look at it as that kind of a game where we were outplayed and like just blown away, and maybe just cut the team a bit of slack on that front? Because I think the one thing that I will say is, I mean, especially over the last 2 3 years, the way Rohit, Kohli, etc. set up in a T20 game is completely different from like the way they set up in a test game, right? From the way they stand and like the, I mean, their initial trigger movements, etc. So that I think should we just cut them a bit more slack. I know Australia also didn't come in with any match practice, but I think we can all agree that these conditions were more Australian than Indian. I think with the natural pace and bounce. The second question is more of a left field selection question. I think we have like I think severely underestimated the loss of Rishabh Pant. I think this whole four bowler plus Jadeja theory was working well with Pant at 6 or 7. In the absence of Pant, like, should we have gone a bit more defensive, like pick the extra batsman, because you're pretty much not getting the same like run output from KS Bharat, right? I mean, we have seen him bat enough in Test match cricket. We saw him bat in this game as well. So I mean, just like a couple of questions, basically.
want to cut that Bharat question at the bud itself. He is not going to be the one who's going to help you cross 350. They have to be the top three of them. Those idiots are the ones who are not scoring runs. You can't point fingers and say that because Bharat is playing in place of Pant, we don't look like a side who can score 350. You should be looking like a side which scores 350 without Pant. That is what you have a top four for.
I agree.
And these
Yeah, and the
morons
others can
don't
take
seem
it
to
to
do that.
500, right? That's
Yeah,
that's the
and
way
the
it should
others
be.
should
And
be.
also,
Shardul
if
should
you
come
think
and
about
have
that, right?
fun. He should be having fun over there, like whatever.
He's
swinging
Like
for
he
a
has
That he's doing
like
anyway.
And the runs your wicketkeeper is not giving you, you've been getting from Akshar, Shardul, Ashwin, and all these guys, right? So the runs that a Pant would have given you, you've already been getting from these other guys in the absence of Pant as well.
But that was that was in India, Max. Like this is
So
overseas, right? It's a
Shardul played a 50 in the first innings, right?
Shardul and Jadeja scored again here. Not
Yeah.
different.
I know.
Right? Is that and it's that progression of when you hand out caps, like for even like when you're talking about Siraj or Bumrah or even Natarajan and all these guys, right? They don't jump directly to they don't directly jump to get a test cap, right? They start out with the T20 team, then they go to the ODI team, and then after a couple of series is with those, then they at least they're in contention for the red ball team, right? This is too much knee jerk, wherein we're like saying, okay, now I think even Varun was talking about getting Jaiswal or Patidar or someone into the red ball team, and I'm like, you have to we have to first cap them in safer formats first, where you can afford to lose in these Hajar bilateral games that we play. I mean, we'll play a stupid bilateral against Sri Lanka. I'm sure West Indies will come for a drubbing because we need to make our ego feel much better after this. We want people to not talk about this game, right? So there will be, and I think there was this West Indies series which right now is not on the it's not on the Cricket Info, it's not on the West Indies website as well, but I think it will sprout out of nowhere now. And they will try to make something out of it, because I think the Afghanistan series is gone. So they might try to do something because they want to stroke their ego and do something. But what I'm trying to say is, in those games is where you will try to get people in some of the white ball games first, and then see if they can. But you just won't leapfrog someone into a red ball team. And like Nitin said, Rahane or Kohli or all these guys, right? They're still pretty good. They've played not very well today, but they're still pretty good. Like Virat got, I think, 900 runs in this WTC cycle, and all of these guys are in the 700 to 800 bucket range in this cycle. So they've been performing, maybe not just this one game, but they've been over a 2-year, and that's the whole concept of the WTC. Right? You're looking at teams over a 2-year period, and over a 2-year period, they have not been bad in patches. But when it comes together in one game, and when people fail, that is a different discussion. And then we can't take knee-jerk reactions from there saying, we have to have this, we have to have that.
Yeah, Max, simple question is, who is responsible? Is it
why
Rohit
should someone
Sharma
be responsible?
Oh, it's someone. Then what is the point, dude? Like, then
Tony,
Tony,
maybe
everyone is a professional player, right? I have a game today at 4, like after this, I'll be going to a game. We may lose, may win. Who's responsible? Everyone is, you have a role, you know what you do, right? This is what I do. I bowl 7th over, 11th over, 14th over. I have a role. If I don't do my role properly, that is it. This whole
Tony,
full match ka mujrim has started basically.
Yeah, it looks good if you're on primetime TV or trying to do something. And then that's why I go with what Nathan is saying. Right? You take the team that you have. You made a decision. You left out the guy with 470 wickets. You brought in this guy who you've discarded, but you brought him in. All of the decisions you take because for whatever, it's a gamble, it's an instinct, or you had some foresight. But once you are there, you have to put it together and do it. And that is where the problem is. Like, you could have a myriad number of reasons of why particular person is playing or not playing. And it's very easy to say, oh yeah, this team would have won in Australia. I don't know. Maybe they would have collapsed for 36 as well. We don't know how a team will perform somewhere else. And it's very easy to say, yeah, just because it's England, we lost. Or I don't know why we're having multiple finals in England. It doesn't matter. If you are truly saying you're going to be the best amongst 10 teams, and call yourself world champions, then you have to play irrespective of where it is, and with the players that you have at your disposal, because your board has decreed that these are the best available resources that we have decided you're going to have. You just make do with what you have. And it comes down to man management. It is man management of how you get the best out of the people that you have. And everyone performs to their roles, yes or no. The people who perform to their roles are on the winning side. Travis Head came, went hammer and tongs. We helped him. They are on the winning side. Smith played a Smith innings. Boland did the Boland bowling. Starc also did what I expect from Starc to do. At no point before this test match, I was thinking Starc would get a 5 for running. I was expecting him to bowl shit. He continued to bowl shit. He did his role also perfectly. There will be one or two bouncers which will come out, and he also did that. We got a couple of those as well. Like Lion will come, he will get some garbage time wickets. He got garbage time wickets. They have executed their roles perfectly.
No. See,
I
the
think
point was not about this particular test, right? It is to say that I mean, no, like
Tony, maybe I
yeah.
could I could take that. I think there's been a couple of issues. I think between Shastri, Kohli, and Dravid, Rohit in the background. I think which the BCCI is also responsible for. I think when Shastri, Kohli were coaching the side, the A Tour program was functioning very well with a lot of overseas tours. I remember we went to South Africa, we went to England, and somebody like a Siraj got a lot of exposure there, etc. Over the last couple of years, all our India A games have been either in India or in Bangladesh. We really haven't like had a program as such where like a batsman has been given challenging conditions to combat against a reasonable quality of attack, nor a fast bowler to really go out there, pick wickets, and stake a claim. So I think that's been one big difference. I think the only thing VVS Lakshman, and maybe it's not VVS Lakshman's fault at the end of the day, is been actually like taking care of the injured team at the NCA. Basically, the A Tour program has not been functioning at all over the last couple of years, ever since COVID subsided, what you may. Having said that, I am also in agreement with you. I don't think we can, on one hand, state that like the depth of Indian cricket is great, like 16 against 16, like we will win, etc. Then it is quite obvious that the depth of Indian cricket is not there. I mean, if you don't know like who your next seam bowler is going to be or who your next backup batsman is going to be, your depth is not in great state. I don't think like even if we were to like scrummage hard, we'll find a bowler like a Scott Boland or a Michael Nisa in our reserves. And similarly, I don't think like you will find, I mean, a batsman, I mean, even as average as Marcus Harris opening the batting for India, basically. So I take your point. I don't think this 16 versus 16. We always say depth of Indian cricket is great, etc. But evidently, nobody seems to have the confidence to blood those players. So we can't have the argument both ways, basically.
If you want to blame
look,
one entity,
it's
just blame the
also-
BCCI, man. It's mostly always correct. You can't go
No,
wrong.
but it's not just the BCCI, right? It's also a function of the formats. And like I mean, I'm not like dissing this entire organization altogether. It's just that the realities have changed now that Max, what you're saying in terms of why don't you blood some new guys into this thing, is that every match now counts for the next WTC cycle, right? And that's where somehow India has been caught in a vortex where now every damn pitch where India play in India has to be a rank turner just so that you don't give up 12 points, right? And I think that needs a serious rethink. Because if you are saying that I need to get all of my 3 series wins at home, and therefore I'll dig up the pitch and create, to be honest, like less than entertaining test matches, then there's a problem, right? You'll never unearth batters. Like,
I have a doubt. When was the date and venue for this WTC final declared? Just
decided. Tariq has
must-
left
it-
the pod.
I think it was at least 6 months back. I don't
At
think
least 6
like,
months back, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And 6 months back, we knew that the IPL also would naturally be like 3 hours before WTC starts. So to it's very I don't know, farcical to say that there is nothing that you can do about it in terms of long term. It's farcical. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
No,
there's plenty
I
that you can do. And
I still maintain that a one-off test is not a measure of how well your
True.
team is.
Okay,
I'm not denying
okay,
that. No, true.
fine.
Like, it's okay. You lose a test match.
You
it's fine.
you can
Fair,
say
but
this
okay.
for any final, and it's fine. It's true.
Of
I don't
course.
disagree with
Yeah.
you. It's true.
Yeah.
No,
So,
whether
but
we
still you
turned
feel
out
bad when you lose
right,
finals, and you feel very, very
No,
happy
of
when you
course
win
you feel
finals.
bad, which is why I'm trying to see the strategy behind it.
No,
right?
my
To say
question-
what is your
my-
stated strategy, and what would it be ideally 2 years later? Which is where I'm failing to see something with Rohit and Dravid. That is my point. It's not about this loss. This loss happened. Obviously, it is sad. It is terrible, and we've all invested time, and some of us have invested money, like Bissy and myself, and we've lost. But the point is, you have to see some light at the end of the tunnel, even if it's 1-2 years down the line, right? That is where I'm getting frustrated. I think.
Okay. Match ka mujrim BCCI hai. I think we all agree. I have a quick question. How many ICC finals, and I want the answer in 5 seconds. How many ICC finals have the Indian men's team been in?
not many.
Since the start of time.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Just AD में बोल दो काफी.
7.
83, 85.
Hey, ICC final.
Hey,
What
that is
ICC final in
85 and
85?
7,
Shastri won OD, no? What is
Oh,
that?
anything
Champions
Shastri
Cup.
wins is the word ICC trophy.
Same
Hey.
thing, no. Just because ICC didn't exist doesn't make it. Then you say Benson.
Not every team played, Ra. Not every team played,
Fine,
Ra.
okay. Fine. 83, 2003.
Gone wrong
Then
already.
2011.
The Champions
2007.
Trophy.
He's like, everything is counting every alternate one basically. Yeah.
No, the
2001
So the
Champions
answer is 11. Okay, so 83,
Yeah,
2000, 2002 again. By the way,
What is in
Nairobi,
2000? What is in
Nairobi.
Oh,
Champions Trophy.
Oh, that you won't count.
Oh, you can't count 85. You'll count 2000.
Dude, Pakistan fans are counting their 2017 Champions Trophy win. The only ICC event they won since 2009.
No ball. Okay.
Incidentally
Okay.
at the Oval only.
Next quick question. How many finals, ICC finals, have India lost in their history?
9.
8.
They played 11. They've lost 6, including the last 4. So the last 4 are the 2014 T20 World Cup, 2017 Champions Trophy final, 2021 WTC, and now 2023 WTC.
Wait.
Yeah.
What do you mean? They played 11, lost only 6, sir.
Yeah, they won.
One fight,
One was shared. One was shared.
With Sri Lanka.
They won. Yeah, they won 83. They lost
But we have
Nairobi
only
in 2000.
3 stars on our jersey, which we should spend more time talking about.
That's a good
By the
point.
wisdom
Why is
ones.
it only 3 stars? The Champions Trophy is not counted by
Champions
ICC.
Trophy.
BCCI doesn't
Hey,
count Champions
Ravi
Trophy as an
Shastri is also
ICC.
not
Titan
This
Cup
is
also,
the
I
problem.
say.
Has Ravi Shastri ever won something in the past? Discarded, bench.
Wait, he won the Champions Trophy. No.
So World Series now.
There's
World
something
Series.
this fellow is saying.
Okay.
85
But-
he won Audi. That's all he remembers. He
Correct,
doesn't know for
Audi.
what.
MCG.
Audi Talubadi. And he got the Audi Talubadi, also known as tax breaks.
Okay, anyway, Nitin Sundar, key time to discuss 2 things before we round up the podcast. The wonderful jersey, and then what is the definition of a clean catch? And we can discard the rest of this podcast.
We spoke
Where we
about the
would
jersey, the last time. Jersey is
No,
nice,
we
good
did.
jersey.
Jersey.
I hope whoever jersey aficionados should definitely collect this jersey because it still doesn't have Kamla Pasand logo on it, because the next iteration of it will have it, because they haven't yet managed to get a jersey sponsor, but they will soon.
As a jersey aficionado, would you buy the
I'm not one.
4,999 rupee jersey, or the 999 rupee fan jersey, or the 2,999 rupee, what is it called? Replica jersey.
I will go to
Wow.
Karama near Bardubai. There for 10 dirhams you get fake jersey, right? Whatever that is, I will buy, if at all. If the material is nice, dry fit. Sometimes they make this
It
full
will-
polyester
It will
uncomfortable
say,
that I
it will
don't buy.
say India on the front and Messi on the back.
No, I'll say Adibas on the
Adibas.
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 Hey, tell me, jersey also has only 3 stripes, no?
True.
3 stars, 3 stripes out of 5.
It is all written, boss. No wonder we didn't.
But
win.
Bissy, did you buy any merchandise at
So
Oval?
the
What was
merchandise,
the
like
experience?
on Hero, I went and saw merchandise. I thought, oh, amazing Adidas jerseys here already. It turns out it's counterfeit, licensed by ICC. So it is not the original.
Yeah. ICC
So
always
like,
does this. ICC always does this. They have
ICC has
some
made its own
fuck all
versions of
replica.
Hey.
Everything.
Random garbage.
And
that's
they
what
look
I did.
so bad. They look they're like denier versions of jerseys. Like jersey is a very
Really
easy thing
bad.
to fake. You can just make
Denier.
you can easily make a fake jersey, right? No,
Tirupurla.
full on fake also. I remember
Dude,
seeing these.
it's really bad. Like
Yeah.
horrible.
Nobody will buy.
They're
You
really
also
bad.
got Vande Bharat toilet magga, no?
Please talk about the collectible. Okay, for the benefit of our listeners who don't watch podcasts, Bissy
Oh
currently
my
is
God, yeah.
flaunting the beer mug
So-
that he collected as a collectible from the Oval. This looks like a
Yeah.
lotta that we all use.
So let me just set this up, right? Because Bissy on our WhatsApp group actually sent a picture on the first day, right? It was whatever it was, and basically one of our friends, Ankush Mehra, on the pod was like, "Why are you taking a urine test to get into the stadium?" Because it looked like a test urine cup with
Only
with
if you
urine
pass
in it.
that test, you're in.
Yeah, and Gaurav's like, "Oh, you pass, it's saffron in color, so yeah, you get to go into the Oval." But Bissy, what is that
Yes.
mugga you're holding up? And what?
This is a very strategically designed magga where you have this holder onto which you can place others and basically
Oh.
make a tower of beer mugs. So when you go
Oh,
out
that is
for
what
the
it is.
break, one guy can get 7 odd
Convert
mugs
once into twos. Sunny G mugga.
and bring it
Hey,
back. So you
no,
just
wait
hold
a
it
sec,
one
wait a
place,
sec.
it's very
Hello.
easy to hold.
One sec. No, the main area of the mug goes into the main area of the mug below, no?
Illada, the handle.
Other way.
Oh, so you hold it like
The
a
next one?
4 cups type.
Correct.
Correct.
Good one, good strategy. This, if
It's
India had
like
won the
suddenly got into board games rules explaining board.
no, if India had won this trophy, easily they could have brought all 4 cups as long as the cup had this design. But neither does the ICC Mace have this design, nor did India win it. So, moot point of a moot point, sadly.
I really think that there was a contest going on for most parts barring day one. Day one is when it slipped away. Otherwise, it was fair.
Oh, you're talking about the height of the beer towers that were being built.
No, the game which was being played.
India fell way behind on the first 2 days.
On the
They
first
fought
day, I
back
agree.
very hard on the third day, and
In
I
terms
think
of
they played
beer drinking.
reasonably well. They played reasonably well on the third and fourth. They were very tough to come back into a test match after giving away
Agreed.
2 days.
Agreed. And a word on the stadium experience also, no? Because this is my first game that I'm seeing outside the Indian nation.
Oh,
right?
really?
So, yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
Giving in
first
Lords
international-
and
Vitality
Oh.
Blast.
First international game
Oh,
outside India. I saw Vitality Blast at both the times. Vitality Blast and what is that? LV County.
LV
But
equal to county.
like-
Yeah.
Vitality Blast was basically the uncle next to you throwing beer away when Kohli got out.
It's too much fun. No, I think it had amazing crowd. Like all 5 days, people turned up. Like Max said, they gave us hope. So some of us spent through our nose and turned up today as well. The time it takes for you to reach from the main gate to your stand state and your seat is 10 minutes on any given day, regardless of how crowded it is, which is just nuts to me. I keep getting blown away by it every time it happens to me over 5 days. I walk in, scan, quick back check, you're on your way, and you just reach the stand. No frisking, no remove your toothbrush, no remove that, no remove this, no stand in line again, nothing, none of that. So overall, I think it's just these are small things which I really wish some people would listen to and carry over for
It's
the
all
World
about
Cup.
the little things, Bissy. As
It's all about the
Harsha
little.
sir famously told us.
It's all about the little things, and I think a lot of what we miss when we watch on TV is what you get to see in the pre-match warm-ups, the warm-ups before the day, the guys who are really intent on what you want to do to even prepare, right? So every morning, the one guy who is preparing wholeheartedly is Ash. without fail. He's running around.
There are two guys. There's Ashna and there's also Bharat Sundaresh in front of the pod who's always there watching Ashna while.
No, he doesn't do any work on the days of the match. He likes to watch nets until the previous day and basically looking at Smith and Labushan. That's all. He actually watches all nets.
Nitin and I will tell you the key difference between watching live and watching at the stadium is that you fucking spoil what is going to happen. One over away from them on our lagging streams, and we are like, I don't even want to mute this group, but I have to. A word on your experience from the ICC capital of Dubai.
So I watch most cricket through IPTV, which means my stream generally lags by anywhere between a minute and 2 minutes. But exactly how much is something I find out from our WhatsApp group where everyone else is watching on Star Sports and are generally a bit ahead of me. And during this test match, you had busy giving updates like 5 minutes in advance and all. I'm like, hey.
I sincerely
Rahane is now only playing straight drive. You are saying he's out. What is this?
10 minutes it takes for Bissy to get from outside the stadium to his seat. That much lag is there between what Bissy is witnessing versus what we are cheering.
Yeah, because light takes time to travel.
It's amazing
See
to
how
be part of a
disillusioned Bissy is as a cricket fan, right? They absolutely know there is no love for the game anymore with these stupid fans like Bissy and like they are allowed to go into a stadium carrying a backpack and all these ungodly things which spoil the fan. Because now you have to, where do you put the backpack? You have to put it on your thighs, you have to put it between your legs, under your seat. You can forget it. None of that happens in India. You are not allowed. You can keep your things safely in your car, in your house. You don't have to worry about losing your backpack, your camera, or any other things, or your power bank. You can forget it, right? No, that is what they take care of. They take care of you. You don't understand that. And then you get up. You're drinking beers and where you can stack beers as a cup. And then when you want to go pee, you have to go look for directions. You
have lota in your hand.
But imagine in an Indian ground, you don't have to look for where the restroom is. The smell will tell you where the restroom is, right? You can just happily go in the general direction and you know where the restroom is.
You have paid through the nose, literally.
Paid through the nose.
And then, like, within 10 minutes, they let you in. What is the fun in that? What is the fun within 10 minutes going and finding your seat?
How are you building patriotism, man? Udhar seeme pe jawan lad rahe. Like, why
you have to scramble through security and with your physical ticket to get into the ground, and you have to keep that with dear life because you cannot come out with that, right? This is like you can check out, you can check out anytime, you can't leave. So you have to have that stub for dear life.
People are queuing up in Chennai for 2 days to get the said physical ticket, first of all, before queuing up in the stadium.
Bearing stampedes. That is where the true love for the game comes. It's not like you just purchase something, you show your phone, they scan it, and the London Bobby just lets you in. What nonsense is this? This is not the true romance of the game. Doesn't come from all of this. Okay,
I agree.
True romance of the game comes when you are struggling to get in. You cannot eat, you cannot drink, there is no shade. You still watch your team, rot and die and struggle out there. You can't step out. If you step out, you can't come back. That is how it should be. You can't meet friends. Fuck friends. Who cares of friends? You have come to sit in the sun and watch your team rot. That is what the true fan experience should
Imagine
be.
Imagine if you were as dehydrated as Dean Jones was in Chennai while he was scoring his double hundred or whatever. Then you would feel like what it is to be like there defending.
And they have like a faster 5G signal in the ground. I'm getting updates from Bissy like when he's at the ground. Why are you even looking at the phone? Look at the game.
Yeah, nonsense. Ambani has genuinely delayed the signal in Wankhede Stadium just for this, for the fan experience outside the stadium. Empathy.
And our other comrade, Murli Satgopan, he's listening to Test Match Sofa in the stadium. If you want to listen to Test Match Sofa, be at home.
Sit on your sofa. It's in the name. Yeah.
Sit on your own sofa. Listen to Test Match Sofa. Just at the ground. Paying 12 pounds at the ground, listening to Test Match Sofa, watching the game, and then sending stuff on WhatsApp with beer in another hand. What is these guys, man? They are an insult to the entire fandom of cricket tragics that we are.
Agreed.
I fully agree.
So phantom fandom.
Speaking of cricket tragics, I met another one in the tube today. Sudhir Chaudhary. The guy who who dresses up as the Indian flag. Amazing chat, 5 minute chat I had with him. He's like, first session बहुत crucial है, century मारा तो we will win. Okay, die. Next, I'm like, where are you going next? He's like, Sachin sir is playing what? What is this league? Legends League
Legends
in
League.
US. So I am going there.
Birthday
life
party in
set hai
Malad
uska.
West.
I'm Legends League and अच्छा. And then he's like, West Indies वाला tour भी है, but उधर नहीं जाऊंगा मैं. Sachin sir जिधर खेलेंगे उधर.
The only thing with,
Sorted.
with this guy, I don't know how he manages in places that are cold, man. Even in MCG for that India-Pakistan game, he was fully bare-bodied. If I was him, I'd die of pneumonia in no time. Okay, I mean, like, I don't know how he
Only
manages.
Max is saying, all you like
Yeah.
useless fans.
No, but also talking of
But
patriotism.
between combative Raidu last episode and empathy Raidu this episode, I think we've come.
Yeah, in the middle we
come
had one more episode.
from all
which you have written
stages
up.
of grief, from expecting mildly that India will win to fuck it. So,
No, our
Yeah.
special shout out to our group
Kumbaya.
also, and people in
Kumbaya.
Australia who stayed awake, were disturbed through phone calls, disturbed through cycling routines, just so that
fuck
we
Hank,
can
man.
somehow add luck to this
Yeah.
luckless team. But
Talking of fraud fans, El Choppernos and Mohan K turned their stiff upper lip to the IPL for 2 entire months, saying that once Test cricket starts, they will be back. And they have given the Test cricket the shortest trip ever. They have it is not even registered on their scale. At least IPL, they knew what was happening because it was making so much noise. This Test match, on the other hand,
It's like all of these guys, no, who were out of action for a while. They are also rusty. They're not used to watching cricket for such long periods of time.
Yeah. No, but talking of true patriots, there is this video that went viral today. That Indian cricket fan who dresses up like a native Indian or something with feathers and wears a blue full sleeve jersey. He was vigorously waving a flag outside the stadium without seeing who was coming by. And an English cyclist, a London local on a cycle, cycled basically into the flag. And as he was falling quite violently, thankfully off camera, you could hear him scream. What exactly did he scream? Ah, you fucking cunt! Yeah.
to which our man said, "Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
I believe that video is basically an encapsulation of what we can expect this summer. The Indian cricket team has showed up in England, has set up Australia to smash England in the Ashes that are going to follow. And they're just going to apologize. Sorry, sir. Sorry, that wasn't the plan. England, of course, going at great pace without knowing what is coming in the side, getting totally railroaded. And there's a term for that. What is it called? Something. Yeah, they get sideswiped. Yeah, England getting properly sideswiped, not noticing what is coming from the side.
Sundar gets on Tinder,
or what Jayasha did in that final, IPL final.
Yeah, this is another jiffable moment. But speaking of, oh, you fucking cunt, this is time to invoke that section of the podcast where Nitin Sundar and Varun Murli will explain to you what a clean catch is according to the latest ICC rules and Alison Mitchell.
I give up, dude. I realized that I don't know what
you
a clean
followed
catch
cricket
is anymore.
For how many years?
I believe 30 years. Yeah. I have no idea what it is anymore. I have no idea what a clean catch is. My understanding of a clean catch involved the ball being captured by a fielder using his hands, ideally without touching the turf or any part thereof of the turf, including the grass that is growing on the turf and the soil that is festering on the turf. But I've been led to believe otherwise. Apparently, a catch can now be completed, even if the ball may have touched a blade or two of grass or a few. Nobody's really counting those blades, as long as there are 2 fingers of a fielder's hand under the ball. This apparently is how umpires currently adjudicate catches that get sent up to them, because despite the greatness of the technology that is at their disposal, it is impossible for them to say with any level of certainty whether catches are being taken safely or not. So they are looking for some kind of signal from above, which is basically, are there 2 fingers under the ball? And as long as you have 2 fingers under the ball, it doesn't matter what you do with the ball. But it also matters what you do with your wrist afterwards, because some experts told us if his wrist had twisted and then he had touched the turf, it would have been a different thing. But I really don't know. It's all I basically don't know what a catch means anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of signals from above, that is what we had during the intermission of the IPL, which was divine intervention. But also the legit segue from what we told Richard Kettlebrough on day 4 was "Are you fucking cunt?" to what we said on day 5 was "Are you fucking control?" Which is what Varun Murli will explain to us as to why the law has changed. Vamu, what is control and how do you define it when a catch is being taken?
So I've never seen a cricket rule change so much over the course of 24 hours. Like when the catch was initially taken, like the consensus was like the ball hadn't hit the grass and he had taken it cleanly, or rather there was not enough evidence to conclusively say that the ball had touched the turf. 1 hour onwards, like the common consensus was that ball had touched the turf, but because he had control over the ball, that was fine. So as per the reading of the laws, it was a great decision by the third umpire because he had control over the ball before the ball touched the grass. Then I just went up and like read the ICC rules. It says that you need to have control over the ball and control over your movements. So it's not just control over the ball. You need to have control over your movements as well. So that like interpretation suggested to me that it was not a clean catch, which like a couple of television producers online also seem to accept. Overnight, I like felt happy and smug about having proven people wrong. Today morning, I wake up on commentary, they're coming up with this new interpretation wherein like if you have two fingers under the ball, as long as the fingers are under the ball, it doesn't really matter whether the ball has touched the turf, whether the ball has touched the boundary line. You need to have those two fingers under the ball, and that is the current interpretation basis which catches are taken. Fantastic. Like I mean, it only cricket can do this, to be honest. I mean, like the way the rules can evolve over 24 hours over something that has been over sport, it's just fascinating.
Just be thankful that you lived through something revolutionary in cricket, where earlier the way two fingers were held over the ball had changed from like outswing to inswing to wobble seam. And the same thing has happened literally overnight as to how you hold two fingers under the ball and take a catch. So
Wobble catch. The
basically,
loss of
wobble
catching can be
catch.
defined as wobble loss, basically. They're just wobbling this way and that. Nobody knows which way they will go.
And match ka
This
mujrim
is
at the ground, loudest cheers reserved for Kettlebrough when he walked out, when he collected the medal, when he walked back up. It was insane, and he's being walked around with a proper security cordon right now. People are very afraid that he'll get
Yeah.
hit or something.
I'm proposing a new signal for wobble catch, which is basically what Vanendu Hasaraya has taught us, which is this third umpire is like, I have no idea. Like, let's just go with this. But on that note, let's sort of conclude in the next 3 minutes by saying that whenever we win a match, guys, we have this thing called munchies, which is we consume every damn thing about the match there is across the board. Crick Bus, Crick Info, whatever, Crick Next, Crick USA, whatever we consume content there. How are you going to deal with a loss? I mean, it doesn't matter because no one's listening to this podcast because famously after an India loss, no one was listening to anything. So, Nitin, what are you going to do?
It's a well-deserved break from cricket for all of us, especially the ones who have also been following the IPL. I think there's going to be a month off, but it'll also be good to watch the Ashes as a neutral. I know some of us here hate England with all their might. I frankly don't care who wins in the Ashes. I just want close games. It's great to watch cricket as a neutral. So yeah, the Indian Test cricket team is the one thing that I'm fully invested into. I'm glad that I don't have the emotional baggage when I'm watching the Ashes.
Let's throw it to Vamu, who is desperately checking with the entire cricket info team as to what is India playing next, and nobody had a clue. Cricket was like, what?
I actually checked the cricket info India fixtures and stats page. It ended with the WTC final, so I had to go over to Crickbus, and there they had like the schedule of the India West Indies tour. So it just seemed as if that tour is going on, but there is like a 1 month gap between now and then. So I am like keenly looking forward to the India Sri Lanka bilateral ODI series, which will kick off this
inevitably
Saturday.
get inevitably get.
So that's what I am looking forward to now.
Yeah, mate.
Guys, I don't know why
Yeah,
you're watching
Max.
useless shit. I have no idea why you're watching useless shit.
Angil.
The Major League Cricket is going to
CCM.
start in a few days. Dallas Super Kings is the team I'm going to cheer for, obviously. Their jerseys are not on sale yet, so I don't know what it's going to look like. But yeah, I think that's supposed to kick off in exactly a week from now. And then there is also this nondescript tournament called the Ashes. So yeah, there's plenty to look forward to.
Outdated shit, man. Ashes belonged in the 19th century.
No,
Whatever.
it'll work out perfectly for me because at 6 in the morning is when the Ashes will start, and then it'll end around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then like 5 o'clock in the evening is when Major League Cricket will start. So got the day.
Sorted hai.
Busy.
For me,
How many
I'm
Ashes
honestly,
matches are you watching live?
it has really like whipped up my appetite for watching games live right now.
Oh.
All said and done, we
This is
lost.
how they lure you in Nitin Sundar catfishing
All said
expedition.
and done, we really lost, and all that. The outcome is, to me, in my mind at least, is secondary because I think we were there. We were fighting with a chance.
Outcome
Now,
is
I
not
don't-
secondary. Outcome is second. We are second in the world test rankings.
At the end of the day, cricket watching is the winner.
This is what our friend Ankush Hera said when someone said, yeah, at the end of the day, cricket is the winner. And Ankush is like, yeah, whenever India plays the finals of ICC tournaments,
Cricket is
usually cricket is the winner.
And he also asked if we can check when is the eliminator 2 for this particular final so that they can qualify for that.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it was a decent test match. The outcome aside, it wasn't all that one-sided as you might think. Now, whatever the reasons, long-term, short-term, obviously we have gone at each other's throats for that. But that's for a later day. We'll
This
wait
is
for
speaking
Hank
like
to wake
someone
up.
who's not had to put up with Haydos's commentary throughout this test match. Oh my God, it was the worst of both worlds where he was pimping his CSK and Australia credentials. So in that spirit, I shall be the guy who goes us raat mein 2 baje tak piya. So I've got another 4 hours to go to bring through this nonsense. All right. On that note, it's time to call it time on this episode of Bits and Pieces, which has been a monumental recording. Hopefully,
Massive bits and humongous pieces.
Shardul Thakur says hi.
Man, Nitin Sundar facing the dilemma of a chef who has ordered 1 kilogram of pork and an entire pig has shown up and now has to figure out which part of this pork chop to serve. So let's see how that goes. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Whatever. I mean, how are you coping with this loss? Tell us. Write into us at BNP_cricket on Twitter and leave us a 5-star rating. Not 3 stripes, not 3 stars, but 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, and share this pod with your friends. This is Tony, Varun, Nitin, Max, and Bissy signing off. And Brother T, who's
In absentia.
dropped off halfway through and we don't have a concussion substitute. Signing off. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.